All right, welcome back to the Roman 12 Experience show here live on Philly Hot Radio. My first guest here today, Miss Kimberly Kamara. How you doing today?
Fine, you.
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. All right, how's your week?
It was a week.
Yeah.
It was a week. I'm here though.
Right, for God.
God's grace.
Amen. Y'all, you gotta talk about it. You gotta talk about it. So we're gonna basically have a real conversation about who are you, so our audience can know about your journey to where you are right now, how God has elevated you and transformed you to become your greatest self right now. Even though we're all work in progress, we want to make sure that you tell your testimony, tell your story. So can you tell us who is Kimberly Kamara?
So I am Mount Airy, Uptown.
Okay.
As they call it.
Right.
Born and raised between Uptown and Germantown.
Right.
Mother, wife, grandmother.
Okay.
Daughter. Working. And 2017, my life took a change. July 4th, everybody's out there enjoying the festivities for the 4th of July. As I was, I have a son and 2 daughters, and I had talked to my son earlier that day, and he was at work, and he said they were going to watch the fireworks. He had his little family. My one daughter was out doing a wedding party, and my other daughter was away with her family. So about, I want to say 9, I called my son, checked on him and that baby. He had a newborn son. They were asleep, and he said they were going to get up and watch the fireworks up in Edmonton. Again, no problem. Around 10 something, I received another phone call. His girlfriend mother was screaming in my ear saying, "You got to get to the hospital." And I'm like, "What's going on?" Naeem's been shot, which is my son, and they said they was taking him to Roxborough. So we were out on the outskirts of Philly, so I told my husband, we gotta hurry up. I wasn't as worried because it was Roxborough. And in my mind, Roxborough is not a trauma center. Right. So I didn't worry about it. So, we making our way up the road, and I called my daughter, told my one daughter, get to the hospital, your brother's been shot. She gets there. She calls me and was like, Mom, they're transferring them to Hanneman. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, we got to get to Hanneman. So we were halfway up Roxborough, so we had to make a U-turn, start down, heading towards Hanneman. Then she calls me back. Mom, they're taking them to Temple. That's when my heart dropped. Because I knew the severity of it, not knowing the severity of it. So we get to Temple. I rush into the emergency room, and everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. Because now when you walk in, you got to go through the metal detectors at Temple.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, my son, and they're like, nobody's been here with a gunshot wound. I'm like, no, they said they're bringing them, and they're like, he hasn't arrived yet. So I get back into the car with my husband, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? About 5 minutes later, I hear an ambulance. I jump out the car. That's my baby. The ambulance pulls up. The driver gets out and open the back door. Automatically, I'm screaming, Naeem. He's not responding.
Wow.
I see a doctor breathing, giving him the aspirator.
Right.
And they're working on him, and they're trying to get him in, and I'm screaming his name, and he's not responding. So, like any mother, I knew that my life, his life, our lives would change forever. So they got him in. The doctors let us in, and they, were like, we're going in the back to work on him. So they told my daughter and the other people to wait out in the regular waiting room. They took me and my husband. I call it the room. They took us in the room.
Okay.
And again, the doctor said, just hold on, we'll be back out once we work on them. So it was, I want to say, it seemed forever, but in all actuality, it probably was an hour
Mm-hmm.
that the doctors came back out and said that we could go back to see him, and it's not looking good. They wanted to run one more test on him to tell us if he was going to make it or not.
Right.
And that test basically had to come from New Jersey, and because it was the holiday,
Okay.
it would go into the next day.
Oh wow.
So we went in the back and was talking to him. I was feeling him and letting him know I loved him and so forth. When they took him up into ICU, we watched them set them all up and do everything they had to. And I can honestly say they really worked to save my son.
Right.
So the test was coming. They told us around 3 that afternoon we could expect that last test to be ran. So we had went home, showered and all. I went to my mom's, let my mom know what was going on. And at that time, I had not made any phone calls to my immediate family.
Right.
Because I didn't know what to say.
Right.
I didn't know what to feel.
Mm-hmm.
I called my daughter that was in Florida. She talked to her brother via FaceTime, and she wanted to come home. And I told her, no, try it. It's nothing more right now you can do.
Right, exactly.
Went and told my mom, and me and my mom and the rest of the family went up there I want to say like 8 o'clock that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time we had to show ID and, all that because it was high profile. So we get up there and I wound up staying, the whole entire time until they ran the next test. And then they came and told me he had no brain activity.
Mm.
And again, my heart just dropped and I fell to pieces. The counselor came in. Now, years before, my son was 23. He got his license at 16.
Mm-hmm.
He had on his license, he wanted to be an organ donor.
Right.
We argued about that because I felt like you're a mark. God forbid something happens to you, and they're not going to work on you to save your life. They want the organs. So I made him take it off. We negotiated, and he said, Mom, if anything should ever happen to me, let them know I'm an organ donor. So once they told me that it was nothing else that they could do, that's when I told them he was an organ donor. And then that's more paperwork. I want to say a good hour length of paperwork that you have to go through. Then they have to test the body, and I had a couple people in mind that were on the organ donation list for kidney and all, but unfortunately he wasn't a match with her, and I really felt bad. But in all that, he was able to save 7 people's lives.
Wow.
From an infant on up to 62 years old.
Mm.
Every walk of life.
Yeah.
And I am proud of that.
Right.
That, he made me promise and I abided by his promise.
Mm-hmm.
So, from the death of Naeem Johnson Kyrie Tate, the birth of my book called Where's My Daddy?
Mm.
How I got on that, I kept looking at his 3-month-old son, saying one day he's going to grow up. He's going to know where his daddy is. And he's going to come to me and his mother for answers.
Right.
So I had to begin to prepare myself through the crying, the heartache, the pain. So I birthed Where's My Daddy?
Mm. Wow.
And Kyrie is now 2. So he's saying daddy and daddy.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
I'll answer you about
But
that, yeah.
we actually had a chance. Like I read it to both of my grandkids. And it's a book that is interactive. It's on a child's level. You put in the sound effects of the different fish and with other animals that the young man Kyrie is using throughout the community to answer that question. And just like many of us, we go outside to search for answers, then to come right home and ask your mom or your dad or whoever. So I used the community for him to find out where his daddy was. And at the end, his mom lets him know.
Oh, wow.
And we also did an interactive coloring book.
Okay.
To go along with the Adventures of Kyrie.
Wow.
So again.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I mean, it's great illustrations.
Yes.
My little cousin Jamie did the illustration.
Wow. He brought her. He brought her. That's really good.
Yeah.
And plus, it's a book.
And even the book, the illustrations in the book.
Wow.
And they're really, like I said, heartfelt.
Yeah.
We really put it all into our book.
Yes.
And I say our book because, without Jamie, it wouldn't have came alive.
Right.
With the illustrations.
Wow. Yeah, but I want to say that thank you for sharing your testimony with all of us here who are watching Facebook Live or maybe Instagram right now. Someone commented that she was sorry for your loss, but pray God that she was able to find a source of healing for your book. So that was definitely a healing process. And you mentioned about certain people that were saved by your son doing his organ donor,
right?
And that's God's favorite number. It's number 7.
So that's what when they told me how many people, and do you know one person can save up to 75 people's lives? They take everything,
right, and
use it.
Right, that's definitely a blessing. That because it's not easy for a mom grandmom to share their testimony about something like that because it's hard. It's hard to share it and put it out there, put it out there. But I'm grateful your bravery, your courage because you probably told before so many times before, but to put on a show like this about how someone's tragic death, leads you to motivate you to come with a book like that.
And by all means, it's not easy.
I know that, but but you are working on that. It's a daily process.
A minute by minute process. Because 1 minute I'm on top of the world. Everything is great.
Right.
The next minute, a song could come on.
Yeah, a trigger. Yeah.
Or I can smell something. I couldn't cook in my kitchen for like 3 months.
Wow.
Because every time I would start cooking, here come my son. What you making, Mom? Mom Dukes, what you making? Even if somebody called me Mom Dukes outside of my kids, I can't accept it. Like, that's their nickname for me.
Right.
And it's like, and even hearing your child's voice. So it might be nights that I'll sit up and go through videos just to hear his voice.
It's a minute by minute process. It definitely is.
It really is.
It is. It's not easy. It's not easy for people to go through daily, especially a mother or a father. Lose their son, their firstborn son. So. And
he was my only son.
Yeah, right. That makes it harder. He's your firstborn son. He was actually doing positive things in the community, spending time with his newborn, your grandson,
right?
And try to make a change in the world, and try not to fit that stigma,
And the piece that we all forget about is how it affects the siblings.
Yes.
His sisters, 28 and 27 now, but they go through a daily ritual of missing their brother. Again, the voice, the phone calls, him needing them.
Right.
Them running to his beck and call. So now we have all this extra time. Because we're not ripping and running for Naeem. We don't know what to do. So it's like, okay.
Right.
So I tell anybody who has lost a child or a sibling, the hardest thing is getting up in the morning. Once you lift your head up off that pillow, just keep going.
Wow.
After you lift your head up, you made it.
Yeah, right.
You made it.
Yeah.
And you have to speak positivity
Yes,
into
you got
yourself.
to. You have to.
You have to love yourself.
Mm.
You gotta respect yourself and know that you are doing what you can do.
Right.
I can't save the world, but if I can save one young man, if I could just talk to one young lady, my job is done.
Yep, your job's fulfilled. Yep. And yeah, I think your book is doing great work. And by the way, for y'all, should be one of the offers, Offers Cafe.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yes, in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks at the Winnie Cafe and 2949 West Roy Avenue. Tickets are only $5. You get in here her story, her testimony, more, ask her questions. To be here in person, because I think your stories need to be told more and because it's definitely needed in our community. So
and in this walk,
yes,
now I'm meeting so many other mothers, fathers,
yes,
children, and that's the other thing. The children are suffering. I met 2 young ladies, and they're about, one was 3 and one was 5. The father did not know that the mother was pregnant with the baby.
Okay.
And she grew up, she's now 4. She never knew her father.
Wow.
And to give her the book, it brought excitement. Another young lady I met, both parents were murdered.
Wow.
And it brought tears to my eyes, just seeing and knowing her. But she has a great village behind her.
Wow. Thank you again for sharing your story, because that's we can inspire someone here watching it right now, might watch it later to get up and rise up, because it's not easy doing the process of grieving, and you are also grieving, but it's a minute by minute process.
It's a minute by minute
process, and you got what you said something that was very important, that once you lift your head up in the bed, get up, it's gonna be all right.
It's gonna
be all right.
You just push yourself.
Yeah, put yourself through. Now you turn something. Now you got a book, a coloring book, and definitely we're gonna definitely stay connected. And because I work in schools, and I think our kids need to hear that book.
And it's so many.
It's so many. It's like a lot of kids doing that trauma at young, like I said, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They need something like this help them cope, help them heal.
Because you don't want to turn that child into an angry young man or woman, which is easily.
So I can kind of relate to you, because I lost my dad when I was 3 years old. So he was killed.
Sorry for your loss.
So he was killed on his birthday. So it's kind of like, because he was actually supposed to get a gold watch and for that day for his birthday. He got for his job. He was actually in a car, and he. What happened was some guy wanted his gold watch the guy's birthday. My dad said no, the guy shot and killed instantly. So it took me a long time to overcome that. It took me a long time to find out what really happened, because for years I was told he was killed in a car accident.
And see, that was the other thing. I met a family who told the child that the father bumped his head and died.
Right.
And the secrets, it's time to get rid of those secrets.
Right, and that because that helped me hold, because I was like, I felt ashamed, because I had no male figure in my life that could talk to me. I had my uncle and my mom's boyfriend, but it's not the same as your dad. You know what I mean? It's not the same somebody say dad to. It's not. It's not the same. You know what I mean? It's not. But that's why I do the work I do, so I can be a positive male figure to our kids, especially young men, because who dealt with death, who dealt with tragedy while they're young, there wasn't mental health things back then like it is now. I couldn't really feel back then how to deal with trauma, but it's definitely a healing thing. You turn that thing into something motivating, and even though it's still not over it, you probably never get over it. But at the same time, as long as your mind think about the great memories and stuff like that, how much your son meant to you, it's gonna help make it be all right. So, but like I said, I'm really proud of you for me to his testimony, because a lot of times people don't share it at all. And they
No,
keep
and you gotta get it
and they
out.
keep it in there. They get bitter, they lose weight, get depressed, they get more, they get sick physically, and they don't eat. And like, it's very important for us to share our story, because you never know who you're gonna be saving, and it's gonna be help them heal from it. You know, and it's very, very powerful thing. And I'm looking forward to our conversation in 2 weeks. Actually, 2 months so fast. Like,
yeah,
so,
6 months is flying.
Yeah, so she'll be, like I said, she'll be one of 6 authors at my Office Cafe 21 Selfless. And then in 2 weeks at We Record Cafe at 2:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. She'll be sharing a story again, maybe take questions. You know, if you want to come talk to one-on-one, I challenge you to come, because you may.
I really.
Yeah, it's only $5 a ticket, so it's getting there with food, refreshments, and you might buy a book. You know, how much your book cost now?
The books are $12.99, and the coloring book is $9.99.
So what's
I have one more person, and the bundle pick is $20.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
So I have them on person. I have them on Amazon.
Right.
And I wanted to plug in.
Yes. Go ahead.
Through this tragedy, we also started an online group called Never Ending Emotions, aka NEAM.
Right.
And it's to help others grieve if they're going through it, or if they just want to vent or express themselves of how they feel. It's not a judging, because people say, "Oh, you should have got over it." No, no, or they wasn't that close to you, or you never know how that person that is deceased impacted another person's life.
Right, because it's not for the family.
Exactly.
It affects their family, their friends,
everybody.
That know them. Yep.
So we're having our annual first gala. It's called the Blue Out Gala, because Naeem's favorite color was blue. So it's called the Blue Out Gala. We putting on our gowns, suits, tuxes, whatever. Come out, enjoy an evening of music by DJ Vader. We got a young lady performing, and we have a host of vendors. We got Nate the Landlord is the comedian. He's a Christian comedian.
Okay. So what's the date? What's the date for the date?
It's November 15th at Treasurer's Nightclub. The tickets are $30.
Wow. Okay.
If you sell 10 tickets, you get 1 free.
Okay.
So that's the table. And like I said, the food's going to be amazing. Everybody, we got vendors, so it's going to be a night to enjoy. Photographer, everything.
So when do you have the Never Ending group? When y'all come together to meet or like conversation?
It's on Facebook and it's on Instagram. So post whenever.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all met. I thought y'all met. Had a conversation.
No, not yet. Because a lot of people want me to start like a group.
The conversation, yeah.
So I am working on that as well. We're looking at some places to meet up at and how often. And I feel like if you do it every week, it might be
right. Do like try to maybe once a month, like
right.
So get together, to talk, and
absolutely.
You know, maybe get a hug. Because sometimes
we miss those hugs.
Yeah, because sometimes you might need a hug. You know what I mean? Even if you might want to say anything, they might to come get a hug, because you never know. That
will help.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Oh my gosh! You never know. I miss my son hugging me, because he was a big hugger.
Yeah.
So I really missed it.
Right.
Or he might call Mom Dukes. What you doing? What you making? Like
yes.
Little silly stuff that we took for granted that we don't have anymore.
Okay.
So yes. So please come out. I have tickets. We're on Eventbrite. Again, I posted on Facebook, and I'm under Kimberly Kamara. I also have Chill with the Cupcake Kamara Show. It's a podcast we do on Wednesdays from 7 to 8.
Oh, okay.
And we talk about a array of things.
And I told you, I definitely want to be a guest on your show.
Yes. And we talk about everything.
Okay.
Last week it was bullying.
Oh man. Oh, wow.
And we touched on it, like we went into it. One of my daughters was bullied. And I didn't know, and you find out so many things. I didn't know my daughter was biting herself to hide the pain.
Wow.
So you find out different things. And you like, wow. And I was the parent that was up at the school all the time.
Right, exactly. Wow.
So everybody knows me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get about that life.
Right, right,
But
right.